Have you ever just stopped and wondered, what is actually going on inside my head? Well, today we're going on an extraordinary journey. We're taking a tour of the most complex, the most fascinating object in the known universe, your brain. Let's dive in.
And look, this isn't going to be some boring anatomy lesson. We are exploring the very architecture of your thoughts, your memories, your personality. This is a journey to understand what makes you, you.
So, first things first, how in the world do we know what's going on in there? I mean, it's not like we can just pop the hood on a living brain. The answer is some seriously amazing technology that lets us peek inside without making a single cut.
Okay, so think of these tools as different kinds of maps for our tour. CT and MRI scans, they give us this beautiful, static blueprint of the brain's structure. But PET and fMRI scans, they're more like live traffic reports, showing us exactly which areas are busiest by tracking things like blood flow. And the EEG, oh, that one's my favorite. It's like we're eavesdropping on the brain's electrical chatter. It's brain waves. It's all of these tools working together that make a tour like this even possible.
Our tour begins at the very base of the brain, in its most ancient, most fundamental region. This is the hindbrain. You can think of it as the automatic pilot that's always running quietly in the background, keeping your whole system online 24/7.
Yeah, this part of the brain handles pretty much everything you do without thinking about it. You know, breathing, sleeping, balancing. It's a tight-knit team of three: the cerebellum, the medulla, and the pons. And trust me, each one has a life or death job to do.
So what do they actually do? Well, the medulla is in charge of your breathing and your heartbeat. Kind of important, right? The pons acts like a bridge, and it helps manage your sleep-wake cycle. And the cerebellum, that's the master of coordination. It's the reason you can walk without tipping over or pick up a cup of coffee without splashing it everywhere. It's a real powerhouse.
All right, moving on up from that basic life support system, we enter the limbic system. If the hindbrain is the automatic pilot, this is the brain's emotional core. This is the hub where all your feelings are felt and where your memories are forged.
Now, the limbic system isn't just one single spot. It's more like a neighborhood of interconnected parts. You've got the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the amygdala, and the hippocampus. And they're all working together all the time to create the rich, complex landscape of your inner world. Think of the thalamus as the brain's central switchboard, directing all the sensory info coming in. The hypothalamus, that's your body's thermostat, regulating stuff like hunger, thirst, and body temperature. The amygdala is your emotional alarm system. It's what makes you jump out of your skin when you're startled. And the hippocampus? That's your personal memory maker. It's the part responsible for turning today's experiences into tomorrow's cherished or not so cherished recollections.
And now we've reached the top floor, the executive suite, the cerebrum, and its famous, wrinkly outer layer, the cerebral cortex. This is your brain's headquarters, the home to your most complex thoughts, your grandest ideas, and your very sense of self.
This is the seat of all our higher mental functions. And you see all those wrinkles and folds? That's just nature's genius way of cramming as much processing power as possible into a small space. This is where you learn a new language, remember a childhood vacation, and think about the big questions. And it's divided into 4 main sections, or lobes.
Let's start our quick tour of the lobes at the very back of your head. This is the occipital lobe. I like to call it your brain's dedicated private movie theater. Every single thing you see with your eyes is processed and interpreted right here. Now let's move to the sides of your head, right above your ears. Here we find the temporal lobes. This is your personal, high-fidelity sound system. They handle everything auditory, from understanding what someone's saying to you to rocking out to your favorite song. Next up, right at the top of the brain is the parietal lobe. Think of it as your personal sensor array. It registers your sense of touch, temperature, and pain. It's also the part that helps you figure out where you are in space so you don't bump into things. And finally, we arrive at the very front, the crown jewel, the frontal lobe. This is the command center, your personal CEO. It does control voluntary muscle movements, sure, but way more importantly, it's in charge of the big stuff: planning, decision-making, and your unique personality.
Now, within these lobes, there are even more specialized zones. And for language, 2 of them are absolutely critical. You have Broca's area, which is in the frontal lobe, and it's responsible for speech production. It literally lets you talk. Then there's Wernicke's area, back in the temporal lobe, which handles comprehension, letting you understand what's being said to you. One lets you talk, the other lets you understand. Pretty cool, huh?
But our tour isn't quite over yet. We have to talk about the brain's 2 distinct halves, its hemispheres. They might look like mirror images of each other, but they actually specialize in different kinds of tasks. And they're connected by this massive superhighway of nerve fibers called the corpus callosum, which lets them chat with each other constantly.
So generally speaking, each hemisphere has its own specialties. The left side is often the expert in things like language and logic. The right side tends to be more, well, artistic, handling things like recognizing faces and understanding spatial relationships. But here's the key. This is a partnership. They're always in communication, always working together. The whole left brain/right brain personality thing is mostly a myth.
Now get ready for a truly mind-blowing fact. For the longest time, we all thought our brains were pretty much fixed after childhood, that you got what you got. But we now know that is completely wrong. Your brain can actually create new neurons throughout your entire life. This process is called neurogenesis. It means your brain isn't a static machine at all. It's constantly changing, adapting, and rewiring itself based on your experiences.
So, we've toured all these different departments, right? From the ancient survival core to the emotional center to the high-level thinking cortex. But the single biggest takeaway is this. They aren't separate. They all work together, seamlessly, as one beautifully integrated system.
And that brings us to the end of our tour, and really to the biggest question of all. We've seen the what and the where of the brain's amazing structures. But the profound mystery that remains is how. How does this 3-pound collection of tissue and electricity create the rich, subjective, conscious experience of being you? That is a journey science is still very much on.